All right, episode number 5 of the Wrestling Bar. If you're watching this, please hit the subscribe button. Help us out. We're just a couple of guys that love professional wrestling. Talk about it all day long, whenever we can. So please support us. And before we go into any topics, happy Veterans Day. Thank you to all the men and women out there that help with national security, the U.S. Air Force, the Navy, the Coast Guard, the Army, the Space Force, and the Marines. So thank you, all of you, for your service. What do you want to talk about, Wes?
Ah, that was just a rough Raw, man.
Yeah, but by the way, today is November 11, 2024, and we just watched Monday Night Raw. It was just 2 hours.
Thank the Lord.
Thank the Lord in heaven. 2 hours of Raw, and it was pretty rough. It was pretty rough, I think. I agree. I agree with that. I agree with that. Other than the bloodline storyline progressing slowly and steady. I mean, now they're looking for number 5 for Survivor Series. So that was interesting, right? Since that the candidates so far are Seth Rollins, Braun Breaker. I think those are the two ones that they kind of talk about. We'll see what happens.
No, we will see what happens. I think that I mean all the storylines with the bloodline and Judgment Day for the most part have been really good. But the fact that Raw has just given up on having like decent matches is just bad. Like they just gave up.
Well, I think the what was it, Ludwig match with who was it
Priest.
with Priest, Damien Priest. I think it was an okay match. The first match, women's match. I mean, someone said that it was horrible. I didn't see anything wrong there, but what happened there that wasn't good?
There was no build up to this match. It just came out of nowhere, like AEW does. Um, you need to give me a storyline. I appreciate Dakota Kai coming back, but you have to give me a storyline. EO, you're the number one contender for the women's championship, and you're not doing anything with that. You're not even, having her interrupt the Judgment Day or do anything of that nature. That'd have been more interesting. You didn't give me any magic.
Well, Io came back at the end,
No, no.
and yeah,
But we're talking about the first match. The first cut is the deepest,
yeah.
and it was trash.
Well, I think it was a nice reunion. Dakota being back, Dakota Kai, dance girl, and you know, coming back and she's already wrestling, right? So that's good. I mean, I was so happy to see Dakota back with the Damage Control that I guess I didn't pay attention to the match or much of the build up. But
I think it was about the moment more than anything else. It wasn't
right.
about the match itself. It was about that moment of the return, to give kind of space for that. But again, too, nothing to write home about. But yeah, more about it just for the not the match itself, but the moment.
What's that feel?
Patty cake, just
Okay. Tonight, the Wyatt Six and Karen Cross with the Final Testament and Miz with a bleeding eye. That was the second most interesting thing I think tonight. I wonder where they're taking this.
You know what? I like the expression of your guy at the end. He's a guy who's he prides himself on kind of being quirky and different and everything else. And to see him mystified by what another person does is like he out weirded me.
Right.
That's interesting. So I'll give you that.
Yeah.
I don't know
What?
whether he could like keep it up in the ring in order to like, make it interesting, but I like that.
What was the worst from tonight? The worst part. Bronson Reed looking like a bum? Maybe.
They flip that guy on and off, probably more so than the Big Show. Like, and I don't mean that as far as face seal. I mean, like, give him a month or two red hot and flip that on its head the next week. That's somebody, if that, honestly, if you give someone like him a genuine build, he could be a world champ. I honestly think so. Is he anywhere close to it right now? No. But I think he could plug in at the right areas, given the right feuds, given the right momentum. And he was having that. Listen, he was toe to toe with Rollins the past couple of months. And I don't know. That guy's another carrying cross, in my opinion.
So Bronson Reed, I like how he moves. I like his overall look. But again, I think they should play the Vader card and put a mask on that face. I don't like his face. If you're seeing this, Bronson Reed, I don't like your face. Nothing personal. But I think that will help him a lot. Make him different. You know, they did it with Kane, right? Kane in his younger years didn't look like much in, his face. He was a dentist, so he wasn't scary. He was odd looking, so they put a mask on him, and that worked wonders.
Phil, I'll let you answer, Phil. Go first.
Bronson Reed, I agree with Dan. When he took out Braun Strowman, the way that he took out Braun Strowman, I mean, this is what I knew he's capable of doing, right? I mean, he's 325 pounds. He's 6'1". I want to see more of that. Like, I wish he would have won at Saudi, even though we love Rollins and yeah. He should have won. That was his like big moment to like win that match. I wish he would have took everybody out at that match, the Fatal 4-Way last week, and just stood on top of everybody and just declared himself the winner and actually went against Gunther. That to me shows like domination, right? Like you're past Seth Rollins. It's in the way that they built it up. This is, the part that Raw that sucked really. Okay, you build up, Rollins versus Braun Strowman again, and then 2 seconds, literally 2 seconds later, you're over here asking Rollins to be a part of Survivor Series on the Bloodline. Like that makes absolutely no sense. So we already know who's gonna win this feud, right? And who's, you know what I mean? Like it's he just played it wrong, and I really wish he would have won that match in Saudi. I was really looking forward to him to just demolishing Seth Rollins. Just kind of like the KO situation with Randy Orton, how that ended at Crown Jewel. I wish that would have been how Braun would have ended it at a minimum, and just not taking an L in Saudi.
So I'm going to say this. I got a couple comments. The first one is you can't teach 300 pounds and athletic. You can't teach that. It's something that he just has. That guy has that. And I think that you can make him look like something. He's not like you got to put a mask on him or put him in I don't know, a silly outfit. You just have to have him look like something. Like, we have to remember, these guys make good money, right? Making good money. And so when you come out in street clothes, you should be coming out with come out with at least a black tee. a chain, and maybe some kind of slacks or something. Like come out like looking like something. Don't come out looking like
GCW.
yeah, and then I'm supposed to like say this guy's like a world beater. Like, no. Like, I mean, I guess I'm old school and like back in the day when I saw wrestlers, you'd see them and they'd always be dressed up nice. Maybe that's just a
No.
back of the day thing.
I think it's not a thing of old school. It's that you're not trash. So you expect some decency out of people in TV.
Listen. Whatever people do when they're like at home, like that's one thing. But if you go be on TV with millions of people watching, please believe I'm gonna have something on nice. I would never wear a t-shirt on TV live to do anything when it's going to be millions and millions and millions of people. This is if this podcast becomes huge, trust me, and you go see me dress a little nicer. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't do that. It's offensive. And then I'm supposed to believe that you're something. Come on, man. And he's already under like the eight ball that it's taken him so long to get his promos right, and he's getting better. And but
Plus, plus he's fat.
no, 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 you're fat. If you're fat and you can move like that, I'm cool with it.
But if he's Drew McIntyre wearing a black t-shirt, he has done it. He does it, and he looks fine. He looks great. But this guy, he needs some help, right? He needs some help to look better than with a t-shirt.
But it's just and Angelo Dawkins does the same thing. Like you got Montez Ford looking like $1 million out there looking like a scrub, literally wearing scrubs, literally.
And that's a good segue because I want to talk about tag teams splitting up. It seems that there are a couple of tag teams in WWE that may be splitting up soon. At least they are taunting with those ideas. You got the Street Profits making comments in the Twitter machine and in interviews that they're not happy. Some people were thinking that they were not renewing their contracts. I don't know if that's true or not. I doubt it. I think it's more like a work. But I think I think they should split up. I think Montez Ford it's gonna be an amazing star. He gets pushed right. You got the New Day right tonight arguing, and this been developed for over weeks. You got Theory and Grayson Waller, right? A-Town Down Under, also hinting that they're not getting along well, all of that. A couple tag teams, right? That seems to be having issues. DIY on SmackDown. Champa is seems that he's back, and I love that. I want to see that. I don't know if both should turn heel or if they should split, but I love Champa back. The black and gold Champa back. So, any thoughts?
Yeah, I think what I do like about this is that WWE is putting more attention in storylines in the tag team division. That's something that's sometimes lost, I think, in the show. People always say, "Oh, what about the women's storylines?" Or, "Oh, what about the mid card storylines?" There honestly isn't as much talk in the tag team division as far as storylines go, and rifts between members of a team. I think most of those examples you brought up, though, is just in between rifts of storylines. The only one I see really breaking up, and it makes sense really, is A-Town Under. A-Town Down Under. New Day, I'm curious where they're going with it. I think it's kind of cool. Lord knows, would I love a Big E return? And if not, listen, they publicly they always said New Day was like, "Oh, New Day will never break up," but I mean that doesn't mean that they can't reunite and make that moment later on. So I mean, that's one that's kind of in between with me. DIY, keep them together. They need to do something. They've shown, I mean, as singles wrestlers, at least in the main roster, hasn't really resulted as much, but they can make a long run in the tag team division and should on the main roster. To your point, get back to that NXT black and gold standard of what DIY was. And again too, I think Street Profits, that's another team, they're due for a push. Maybe it's a different character twist, or maybe where they go as a team itself. Maybe the disgruntled workers rising up and healing their way into championships. Who knows where that goes? I think that's very interesting, but most of those good storylines right now. I'm pretty intrigued. But yeah, I wouldn't see any of those tag teams besides A-Town Down Under going anywhere anytime soon.
Yeah, I agree. The New Day splitting up, I don't think it's gonna be good for either one of them. They are both good, but they're better together, I think. And the WWE, they need solid tag teams. It's not a lot of them that they have, that with a good history, with a good push, that people like. I think they need them. Street Profits, I really want them to split. I mean, Montez Ford, my God, that guy can be world champion. He can be one of their top stars, if not their top star. I mean, I do believe in Montez Ford a lot. So
I agree with you on I'm cool with the Street Profits breaking up, but here's the thing. I love Montez Ford, and I agree with you on that. I think Dawkins is better than people give him credit for. I like his in. He does look like a slub outside of the ring. He does. I like his in-ring. His in-ring is really and I think he could be I think he'd be a good partner to somebody else as a tag team.
That's an idea.
Go for it. I don't think he's like a must fire list, like you have your fire list, Javi.
No, he's not there. He's not there.
Yeah, I don't think he's on a must fire list. I think he's a good tag team partner, but I really think that Montez Ford to AEW has legs, and the reason why I say that is because he's seen what happened to oh boy when he went over there.
Swerve
got elevated. Swerve now is, I'm not saying he's a household name, but heck, Swerve was on the morning show.
Yeah.
Swerve, he has something. And I think that he's seen that if he went to someplace else, he'll realize that this guy has it. So that's my take. What do you think, Paul?
I'm afraid of him going to AEW because AEW really doesn't utilize talent correctly. And don't get me wrong, if he went over there right now, I mean, MVP and he needs to link up with MVP and Bobby Lashley and get a push. I'm not saying he can't do it on his own. He can do it on his own. I was very impressed when he fought Roman. There's ways that he could do a singles run here and like with the US title, like fight LA Knight or something and win the belt. Legitimately win the belt. He can wrestle his ass off. I can't deny his talent in the ring. I'm just, I don't think Dawkins, I think Dawkins, like you said, would be better with somebody else if they did split. I don't think that Dawkins can make it on his own as a singles competitor. I think if Dawkins went to AEW, I definitely believe he'd be kind of like the what was that guy from Alabama called? Fuego del Sol.
Damn.
That's basically how I feel about AEW just utilizing talent. I don't think that they utilize their talent correctly, and it makes me upset on Wednesdays. So
yeah, the AEW has like 700 wrestlers.
Yeah, it's insane, and they have zero storylines for everyone. And what we just witnessed like just a few minutes ago after Raw, right? With this 20 member, 20 women just jumping in the ring for a mishmash. Like, what is this? I get you're trying to set up, Survivor Series. It's all well and great, but give us a heads up. Like, give us some Twitter beef. Give us something. And stop intermingling in these doggone shows. I really, 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 really want to just keep the brand split
Brand
as much
split.
as we can. You're going to 3 hour shows next year. We need you to keep storylines fresh and new. And if we did break up going back to the tag teams, if we did break up the tag teams, I think the perfect time would be to start breaking up or showing that division would be the Royal Rumble, right? That's where, you can have somebody turn on someone and build a storyline around it, right? Like, A-Town Down Under, right? Austin Theory just throws Grayson Waller off, and all of a sudden they have a grudge match. It would make sense. So there's ways to do that and to incorporate it. I really like this side of Tommaso Ciampa, like you had mentioned before. I really like it. And if
Blackheart.
this is what it takes, if this is what you're gonna need to do to get the title back, 'cause I think he's gonna get the title back with this attitude he's got. So be it, because you haven't been before. Triple H taking over, you weren't utilized correctly on the main.
I know Champa is small, but he's ripped. He looks like something. He looks like he could fuck you up in the street.
He's a little taller than you think, man.
Yeah.
Stood next to him. How about this? The over under, he's probably 6 foot. Probably 6 foot.
Yeah.
In WWE terms, that's not huge, but he's bigger than you think.
But that's
Barely,
solid
barely.
mid-card. That's solid mid-card. That's a cruiserweight division, which is why we need a cruiserweight division. I'm screaming for it.
So bad.
But you know why they don't? They've never done it, right?
Yeah.
Because they
They
don't have
did
the
in the
best.
past.
Yeah, but like they just don't have the best cruiserweight. You got to bring over somebody. You got to get somebody from someplace else, man. You got to call up Vikingo and say, "Are you healthy, Vikingo?"
No, he's not. He breaks
No.
his bones every other week, man.
I know he's not. But that's what I'm saying. You got to call. You got to call some of the best in the world, man. And WWE won't do it, man. It's just not what they do.
I think and Dan, I know you want to say something, but and I'm not gonna get fully into this, but I think they do have a big opportunity to do Nitro, to bring back Nitro, and bring the cruiserweight division back. I mean, they do have a bunch of cruiserweights that are really good. Pete Dunne, Finn Balor, Ciampa, Gargano, Ilja Dragunov. They do have a good cruiserweight division, maybe the best cruiserweight division they've ever had. Just that they don't have a cruiserweight division, but they have the people that would be part of it. So I think they should do it, but that's a topic for another episode, I think.
I just want to say one thing in closing out the tag team topic here. A little contrary to what I said a few minutes ago, but I was just kind of thinking through. I'm gonna put a bet. It's November 11th as we're recording this. I do think one of the tag teams you mentioned will break up soon. I'm actually going to change it a little bit here. I think it's going to happen at the Royal Rumble. And I think it's going to be the New Day. I think that's the moment you set up a WrestleMania match between Xavier Woods and Kofi Kingston. Where does Big E fall in that, or where does that mean for the grander scheme of the New Day? Who knows? But whether it's Kofi doing a miraculous save and then Xavier Wood takes him out, or something along those lines, the money's there. I think it's building towards it. November 11th, I'm sticking to it. Ask me on February 5th or whenever the Royal Rumble is. So.
Can I ask you the elephant in the room? Who thinks that Xavier Woods is good enough for any of this?
Oh,
Yeah,
I think he is.
Xavier
He has been extremely underutilized.
Oh, yeah.
Entire WWE run. Go back and watch his
Consequences Creed.
Oh, Wes, yeah.
He's a
No
former
doubt. They
king of
haven't
the
tapped
ring.
into what Xavier Woods can do.
So once again, we're going to get into this. I watched him as Consequences Creed, and I thought the same thing. I think he's a solid hand. I think he's a good tag team guy. I don't think he's a singles competitor. And Kofi has proven to be a real singles competitor who's have memorable matches. Kofi against Randy Orton, those matches were like, what in the world's going on type matches. You've never seen that from him.
And here's the thing that makes it so much better. Because if you think about this whole story, you think about the whole thing going on with Xavier right now. Big E, world champion, Kofi Mania, WrestleMania main eventer, world champion. Who's the Jannetty right now with the New Day? Who's the guy that's, to your point, West, left in the dust? That's Xavier. The guy, by the way, that's probably put more time into the industry than both of them.
Yep.
So if there's anybody that deserves this heel turn right now, or I'm not saying he's going to be a world champion. Who knows? People want Dominic to be world champion. So who knows where they'll take this? But no, the idea of Xavier getting his spotlight, the closest he's ever gotten was his King of the Ring run a couple of years ago. We haven't seen what he could do. Is all I'm saying.
You're right.
Hell of a character worker too.
It's gonna
He
happen.
fumbled the ball with them when he won the King of the Ring. That pissed me off. He should have at least won the U.S. title at that point.
Yeah.
There was no reason to bury him.
That's the best he'd look. I'll give you that.
They buried him. And they buried Austin Theory when he had the Money in the Bank, too. He cashed in on the U.S. title and lost. Who does that? Don't get me wrong. I appreciate Roman Reigns for being the Universal Champion at that time. And that's the only in the bloodline. And that's the only reason why I was somewhat sane and still watched the show. Because Cody still sucks.
Like his dad, it's about the chase, man. Once they get the belt, it's not the same.
Yeah, I think Cody's doing great, but you guys. He's doing great.
He doesn't even have a match for Survivor Series right now. It's November 11th.
He may be number 5.
He's gonna be.
Yeah.
Either
Doesn't
him
need
or
a
Brock.
match.
Pick one.
And there's a lot of history that he has with the War Games match because that's a Dusty Rhodes match, right? He created that.
Right.
And I don't think he has been in one, has he? Cody Rhodes? I don't think he has been. Nope.
It wasn't memorable if he was.
Yeah. He has not been. That's why you don't remember.